Good day everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cailyn and this is Foundation First. Today we're going to talk about two things that may be a little bit controversial, but these are two things that you actually do not need to teach children to enable them to learn how to read. When I mention these, this doesn't mean that we don't need it in our language at all. This is just speaking specifically about the initial teaching of reading and writing to young children. In my last video, we spoke about what children need to learn how to read, and now we're going to talk about two things that are often taught when teaching phonics, but actually don't need to be taught, and in fact end up confusing children instead of assisting them in learning how to read. So let's get started. The first one is capital letters. There's a school of thought that says that you teach children capital letters first because it's easier to write. However, I greatly disagree with this. When we teach children something, we don't teach them the thing that is easiest because we're trying to rush to the end goal. We need to teach them a skill that is going to get them to the place that they need to be in the most logical order possible. If we are teaching them capital letters because they're easier to write because they are lined, this then provides them with a skill that is going to inhibit them from accurately writing and then having to unlearn those habits to eventually write in lowercase later on. Very often what we see in schools is that we see parents teaching their children how to write in capital letters while they are at home. We see it in preschools and primary schools as well, and that is something that is very old school and something that I would highly encourage people to stay away from. It is very hard to unteach writing in capitals to teach in lowercase, because once a habit is formed, it is very hard to break it, especially because writing in lowercase takes more focus than it does to write in capitals. Lowercase, you have a starting point and you should not be picking up your pencil when writing. With capital letters, it's very stick formed, meaning it's very easy to form. Breaking a child out of that habit is very difficult. If there's anyone who would like to challenge me on that, you're more than welcome to. Write down a comment below and tell me your opinions, and I'll be happy to discuss with you there. However, I feel very strongly about this, and a lot of research has come in recently about why we should teach lowercase first. In addition to this, does it not seem more logical that we teach children lowercase, as 90% of our written language is written in lowercase? It is much easier to tell children how to change one letter at the beginning of a name or at the beginning of a sentence than it is to change the whole sentence to lowercase. I have seen it, I've done it, and it works. So if you don't do this, I suggest trying it out and also researching it on your own. And the next one, and where I'll leave us off, is letter names. When I speak about letter names, it means the name of the symbol that we see in the alphabet. For example, the letter A, the name of the letter, the shape of it, is A. To build on that, a triangle, this shape, the name of that shape is a triangle. This shape, its name is A. This shape, its name is B. This shape, its name is C. Very often when teaching reading and writing, teachers will teach the letter names. This will also be done when children go home and their parents don't understand how children learn and develop, and therefore will teach them how to write their names and how to identify letter symbols by their letter names. This inhibits them from truly learning how to read and write, because then they start spelling and reading with using the letter names. Say, for example, instead of reading this as k-at, children will read it as C-A-T. C-A-T. Whether they know how to blend or not, they will not be able to learn it. Eventually, when you start getting them used to the phonemes that are attached to those instead of the letter names, very close and logical confusions that children will get is with C, they will say S, because at the beginning of C is S, so they'll sometimes say S instead of K. Next is the letter E and the letter I. Children often confuse these because we say both in the reading context. So, for example, children will see the letter E, and they will say I, because they are confusing the sound I for I and the letter name E. So very often they will write it and read it incorrectly. This is why there is no point in teaching letter names from when you start with reading instruction. Eventually, because it is so much in our vocabulary, children will pick it up. It is much easier later on to teach them the names of the letters when they've already established a very solid foundation of the skills that they actually need to be able to read. I've seen it many times. It is just confusing, and there is no harm in removing the letter names to be able to then teach children how to read and write. If a child already has knowledge with letter names and comes into your class with those letter names, then don't just pretend those letter names don't exist. If it comes up, speak about it. If they say A instead of A, you just say, you're not wrong. This name of this letter is A. But when we read, we don't say A. We say A. Don't explicitly teach it, but if it comes up, talk to it. Don't pretend it doesn't exist, because then children will wonder why, and they not truly understand or want to follow why that is the case. And children who are able to and will remember it, and at the end of the day, children aren't ready yet to remember it. It is okay that they don't remember the fact that each letter has a specific name. Eventually, when they're later in grade 1, going on grade 2, grade 3, etc., they'll easily pick it up, especially when they're doing stuff like alphabetical order. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions or concerns about what I've said today, please write in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to see what's coming up next. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next one.